Okay, so the 2020 exhibition. A lot to think about with this. A lot that I feel when I mention that name, even because I know all of the work that went into it. We're talking hundreds of hours over the space of a year. I don't produce work too often, because it takes a lot out of me, emotionally and physically, because sitting down for hours on end, for days, is not an easy task, you know. So, but I do it because I love it, and you know, I have a duty to articulate what we go through as humans, what I go through personally, but what I go through personally also replicates or reflects what everybody else goes through as well. So for me, it's important that I stick to my goals, to my vision, because I really feel that I'm going to make a difference at some point with my art, whether it's one person or 100. If it's affecting someone, then I've succeeded. So the 2020 exhibition, I'm assuming that those who are watching this were there, or you couldn't make it, or this may be someone who's seeing this video in the future and wants to understand what the hell I'm talking about. It was an exhibition that I put together to showcase a collection of artworks that I created in the year 2020, the most significant year in our lifetimes, or at least mine and my peers and my generation. And it changed everything. And what I noticed is it changed the way that I create, the way that I processed ideas and concepts, and it affected me, not so much for me personally, but for what I saw going on in the world and how people suffered. And I just needed to say something and to speak up. I've never really been someone that cares so much about politics, and I know this is something that triggers or upsets a lot of people, but I have my perspective on life and the way that I see things. And the only thing that I'm concerned about is truth, justice, opinions, and all this stuff. These things are fragile. You know, I have opinions and I realize how fragile they are. And I'm trying to stay away from opinions, and politics is all about opinions. But when people suffer, that's truth. And that's all that I'm concerned about. So this is what this exhibition was about, ultimately. There was a few events that I kind of focused on throughout 2020. There was many that I could have worked on, but I was kind of going with my feeling. For obvious reasons, the whole Black Lives Matter situation kind of triggered that inspiration that I needed to create, because I was going through quite a difficult period at the time with regards to like my creation and having like the motivation to create. But this sort of sparked it for me, and although I have my feelings towards that whole movement, the bigger issues there to see, like, you know, that people that look like me have been suffering for a long time. We still suffer. It's like a ghost. That's the way I always think of this. I can see it. Many others in the community can see it. But outside of it, sometimes it can be, you know, sometimes people believe that it doesn't exist and whatnot. So for me, I had to contribute, you know, and to speak from my perspective. And yeah, that's sort of the inspiration behind that. And that was the resilience piece, the we got piece, and then you got the myth of equal opportunity. That one kind of ties into not just the black community, but all ethnic minorities and the ethnic community as a whole. The myth of equal opportunity, that one was based around, well, exactly, the myth of it being equal. You know, I know for a fact that there's been situations in life where it's been difficult for me to get certain positions somewhere, or, you know, certain benefits. And I understand, like, it's kind of the system that we live in. It's not really meant to push me forward personally, but that's something that needs to change. And if I can kind of convey that struggle that me and millions and millions and billions of other people go through, then I would do that. So to conclude, the exhibition in this whole project was based around showing people and bringing people together to readdress a difficult period in our time, and I guess to make peace with it, and to maybe sit with certain thoughts, because the reaction I got from those that attended was that of people like that they felt deeply connected to the work and very moved. So for me, it did its job in that sense. And yeah, it's not about rehashing the past, but revisiting it and making peace with it, which is what I've done through the art as well. So I want to thank everyone for coming, and I hope it did what it was meant to do, and I'll see you at the next one.